Seo-hun sits by her mother's hospital bed, who gently insists she didn't need to come, acknowledging her daughter's busy schedule. Seo-hun reassures her that it's no trouble and asks what she was doing. Her mother mentions she was simply looking out the window, noting there's not much to do in the hospital. The daughter responds with a quiet, right, clearly touched by the monotony her mother endures. The mother cheerfully hands her daughter a gift bag, asking her to give it to Kijin on her behalf. The daughter curiously asks what it is. Revealing the contents, the mother explains it's a hand-knitted sweater she made for Kijin and asks if he would like it. The daughter is visibly emotional, telling her mom she didn't have to go to such lengths. The mother replies she simply wanted to thank Kijin. With a warm expression, the mother says she wants to thank Kijin for loving you and taking care of you. The mother humorously claims Kijin is lucky to have her daughter and must have saved 100 countries in his past life. The daughter teasingly retorts that her mom can't even manage household affairs. The mother suggests bearing plenty of children for Kijin. Embarrassed, Seo-hun brushes her off, reminding her it's the 21st century. The mother expresses relief seeing that her daughter and Kijin are getting along well. Her words carry a gentle gratitude for their growing bond. She reflects that she was initially worried about Kijin, as he seemed cold and distant. A flashback of Kijin in a sleek suit illustrates that first impression. The mother smiles kindly and says she's glad to see that her daughter's relationship is going well, unaware of the hidden truth behind her words. Seo-hun silently struggles, thinking to herself that revealing her marital problems would break the heart of the person in front of her. Trying to keep up the facade, she insists that Kijin has changed and seems to genuinely care now. Her mother adds that Kijin must truly treasure her daughter, believing his kindness extends to how he treats herself, the mother-in-law too, leaving Seo-hun confused, asking, "What are you talking about?" The mother points to a bouquet, saying Kijin sent the flowers because he knew she loved them, even going as far as getting permission from the doctor. Surprised, Seo-hun asks in disbelief if he really sent those flowers. The mother explains that he even left a note with them, touched by this unexpected gesture of sweetness. Reading the note, which says, "I'll send fresh flowers again before these wither," Seo-hun begins to question her assumptions. Was he truly this sweet? The mother admits this isn't the first time he's done something thoughtful like this. The mother recalls that it wasn't flowers before. It was a designer bag Kijin brought her from a business trip to Italy. Seo-hun is stunned to learn new information, exclaiming that she had no idea and asking when it happened, revealing her complete surprise and confusion. Her mother explains it happened about 4 months after their wedding, and she remembers it clearly because it coincided with the start of her chemotherapy treatment. Seo-hun, sitting beside the hospital bed, asks why she was never told. Her mother explains that it was her husband's request to keep it quiet, insisting it wasn't a big deal, and admits she didn't know he had kept it hidden all this time. Seo-hun reflects silently, remembering that their marriage was actually quite good for the first 6 months, casting doubt over her previous assumptions. She recalls how things suddenly worsened, and how she had always assumed it was due to a mistress, specifically Song Chiron. Doubt creeps in as she questions if something else happened that she wasn't aware of, wondering if Song Chiron wasn't the actual cause after all. Trying to dismiss her spiraling thoughts, she tells herself to stop thinking about it, knowing it won't change anything now. Standing by the hospital bed, she offers to pass the knitted sweater to him and assures her mother that he'll love it. She then says it's time for her to leave. Her mother gently encourages her to visit again, this time with Kijin, implying a deeper family or relational bond. As she exits, she gives a warm smile and tells her mother to take care until next time, offering a sense of closure and affection. Seo-hun walks into the building, warmly greeted by colleagues who express it's been too long. She smiles gracefully and responds, "Yes, it's good to see you all." Mr. On welcomes Seo-hun formally at the door, standing tall in his suit, indicating her presence is expected and respected. She apologizes for arriving without notice. Mr. On reassures her it's not a problem and says the person she wants to see is almost done for the day, then steps aside to let them talk privately. Seo-hun cautiously opens the office door and steps inside. Kijin at the desk doesn't see her yet, his back turned as he focuses on his screen. With a composed yet hopeful expression, Seo-hun asks, "Would you have dinner with me?" He responds with a guarded look, asking, "Why? Do you feel bad for me?" hinting at underlying tension or a past conflict. Seohan expresses sincere remorse, saying, "I'm really sorry about yesterday. Let me make it up to you," clearly hoping for reconciliation. He questions her earnestness, asking, all at once, seemingly skeptical about whether her apology can undo the damage done. She replies calmly, if possible, showing both resolve and vulnerability in her willingness to bridge the emotional gap. Kijin leans forward on his desk, looks at her firmly, and agrees, "All right then," signaling a willingness to give her a chance. Seohan curiously asks, "Where are we going?" as she follows the man, who leads confidently with a slight smile. He answers smoothly, "Somewhere we can continue where we left off yesterday," hinting at an intimate moment they previously shared. At the big hotel, he opens the door for her and gently encourages, "Go on in," as she hesitantly steps forward. Trying to calm herself, she thinks, "Don't be scared. I can do this. It isn't a big deal," but her anxious expression says otherwise. He sits casually on the bed, loosening his tie, and teases, "What's wrong?" "Having second thoughts now that you're here," she nervously admits. "It's my first time coming to a place like this with you. I just feel a bit awkward," avoiding his gaze. He gently reaches for her hand, reassuring her with the words, "There's a first time for everything." She sits on his lap, blushing slightly. She looks at him and softly asks, "Should we kiss?" With a confident smile, he replies, "We can do more than just kiss," intensifying the moment between them. Moved by emotion, she closes the distance and kisses him, wrapping her arms around his neck as they embrace. Their kiss deepens as emotions take over, capturing a moment of unspoken desire and vulnerability between them. With a soft, teasing smile, he gazes into her eyes and gently remarks, "You know you've been giving me a hard time, right?" as they remain close. She looks back at him sincerely and calmly replies, "I know," acknowledging her role in their emotional tension. With a subtle smile and a trace of affection, she wraps her arms around him and says, "So, this is your reward," offering herself as a tender gesture of closeness. Outside Sama Hospital, a doctor stresses the importance of absolute rest for the time being, emphasizing the seriousness of the patient's condition. The doctor forbids all strenuous activities, including golfing, warning that even a cold could cause the patient's ribs to fracture again. As the doctor continues his instructions, the woman and man listen quietly. She looks slightly worried while he remains calm and composed. It revealed, things were going very well in the hotel room, until, indicating a sudden change or interruption from an intimate moment. While sharing a kiss, Seohan reflects inwardly that she only intended to pretend to be his wife for 6 months, and now 1 month has already passed. She admits to herself that although the act will eventually end, she wants to remain true to her feelings in this fleeting moment. Touching his shoulder gently, she reflects that the affection may not erase her past pain, but it still holds meaning. As she leans in closer, she acknowledges it may not heal everything, but it will leave her with something worth remembering from this marriage. Suddenly, Kijin falls backward onto a couch with a loud thud, prompting Seohan to call out in alarm. "Kijin!" Panicked, Seohan worries, "Did I push him too far back?" and urgently asks, "Are you okay?" revealing her guilt and concern. Kijin tries to sit up in bed, insisting he's fine, but his body struggles as he rises, revealing he's still in pain. As he clutches his chest in pain, she panics and rushes to call a doctor, alarmed by his obvious discomfort. That was how they ended up in the hospital at the present. The doctor scolds them, revealing Kijin refractured his nearly healed ribs, being nagged by him. Kijin, now in a new outfit, questions with a straight face, "Must we use separate beds?" She crosses her arms and explains, "That's what the doctor told us to do for the time being," standing firm on the restriction. Previously, the doctor had warned them not to roll over Kijin or engage in strenuous activities. She teases him, "Remember?" With a gentle smile, she adds that until he's fully healed, they have no other choice in the matter. Kijin dramatically sighs, covering part of his face, and mutters, "Huh. How torturous," clearly frustrated by the separation. A month passes since Kijin was discharged from the hospital. He and the woman sit across from each other, drinking quietly at the dining table. Feeling restless, Kijin confesses he feels like a deadbeat husband for staying home all day, expressing his eagerness to return to the office. Seo-hun reminds him of his checkup scheduled for today, her tone casual yet caring as she prepares to leave. As they walk together, he confirms the checkup is in the afternoon. She apologetically explains she can't join him due to a meeting with a client and wishes him to drive safe. Standing before a mirror, he playfully complains that he's going to be in so much pain during occupational therapy, hinting at her unease with a smile. He sneaks up from behind and whispers teasingly, "Are you really making me go all by myself?" His voice laced with playful neediness. He tries to appear frail, but she smiles knowingly, saying she's seen him work out with dumbbells weighing tens of kilograms. "Acting weak isn't going to work on me." He pouts, calling her too cold, but she hugs him, affirming, "I'm hard on you because I care about your well-being." With a sly smirk and sultry eyes, he teases her further. "You can be even stricter if you want. You'd look nice holding a whip." Seo-hun smiles and teases Kijin, remarking, "Wow, Kijin, you're unexpectedly," hinting at his surprising sincerity or charm. Kijin directly confesses, "My thoughts are impure. I've never tried to hide it," while placing his hand gently on her shoulder, his gaze steady and unwavering. He leans in with tender boldness, kissing her temple and saying, "So I want you in my bed tonight," while she looks up at him with a soft, knowing smile. Seo-hun chuckles to herself, "Gosh, what a way to start the day," and reflects on how bewildering it once was to be called his wife, though now she's grown used to it. Kijin smiles warmly and thinks to himself, "I'm glad Seo-hun is my wife," his expression filled with peace and quiet affection. As they leave together, he tells her, "I'll pick you up after work," and she responds, "From the art center?" Before reminding him about dinner at his parents' house after her therapy session. Kijin asks, "Does your father enjoy wine?" She lightly questions, "Are you going to buy a bottle?" "You don't have to," showing a shift in his attentiveness. Their hands briefly meet as he reaches out, saying, "I can't go to my father-in-law's birthday dinner empty-handed," highlighting a sense of responsibility and newfound thoughtfulness. Surprised, he asks, "What's with that reaction? Do I not usually do this?" Puzzled by her expression. She replies, "You've never done this before. You weren't exactly the caring type." He counters softly, "I doubt that. I want to do everything for you, like a mother bird," revealing his growing affection and devotion. Kijin reflects on his past with soft regret, acknowledging aloud, "I'm sure I was the same way before." Her eyes lower as the thought lingers, emotions surfacing quietly. She turns to leave, calmly stating, "I'll get going now. See you." Kijin responds with a neutral, "Oh, okay," watching her walk away. The door closes with a sharp slam, echoing the sudden emotional distance left behind in her absence. Standing with his arms crossed, the man wonders aloud, "What was that about? Did I say something wrong?" Confusion clouds his expression. He reflects on her subtle reactions, noting how she sometimes freezes and flinches over certain things I say offhandedly, recognizing the fragility beneath her composure. He suspects she's hiding something from him, perhaps something tied to his lost memories, leaving him deep in thought and uneasy. A conversation with Mr. On reassures him, "Ms. Zhang hasn't changed." "It's you who did, sir." The implication settles heavily. Mr. On further observes, "You've become more affectionate and sweeter toward her," highlighting a change in the man's demeanor. In a flustered reaction, the man thinks, "Affectionate and sweet? That makes me cringe," masking his inner conflict with humor. Alone, he gazes pensively and admits, "I want to know what she's hiding from me. Why does she look at me that way, with those loving yet sad eyes?" A deep yearning for truth overtakes him. Seo-hun is bathed in soft light, her expression distant and conflicted. The man watching her wonders silently, why does she have that resentful look on her face every now and then? Haunted by doubt, he envisions himself on his knees, overwhelmed by guilt. He questions if he wronged her in the past, and wonders if that's why she cannot accept him. His thoughts drift to a possibility that stings deeper. Maybe she was once in love with someone else. A vision of Seo-hyun laughing happily beside another man flashes through his mind. His chest throbs unexpectedly as the thought settles. If the reason she can't accept me is because she can't forget that person, pain grips him from within, both emotional and physical. Clutching his chest, he sits alone on the couch, startled. Was that my rib? Has it still not healed? He asks himself, uncertain whether the ache is from the body or the heart. With a solemn expression, he whispers her name, Seo-hun, as if calling out in longing and frustration. A bright memory pierces through his brooding thoughts. Seo-hyun, smiling brightly, calling out Kijin, like sunlight breaking through sorrow. Back in the quiet expanse of his home, he sits alone, consumed by longing. With a heavy heart, he murmurs, I miss you already. Seo-hun instructs her colleague to free up their best wall, the one with optimal lighting, likely for an upcoming art installation. Her co-worker responds with a simple, understood. The short-haired woman asks when the artworks will arrive, and Seo-hun replies that it will be within a month. Seo-hun glances at the time and realizes she needs to leave, hinting that she has a scheduled plan. She tells Sunju to lock up the gallery and head home, revealing that she has to be on her way. Sunju is surprised she's leaving early. With a soft smile, Seo-hun explains that she has plans with her husband. Excited, Sunju asks if Mr. Ma will be coming to the gallery, clearly intrigued by the possibility. Seo-hun laughs and says she doesn't think he'll come in. He never has. Sunju responds with surprise. Oh. Suddenly, Seo-hun is caught off guard, her expression softening as she says, he's really here. Kijin, in a suit with striking eyes, holding a phone, stands surrounded by flowers. Seo-hun calls out his name, Kijin. Kijin smiles and responds, you came all the way in, confirming his presence inside the gallery, a rare and unexpected gesture. He greets Seo-hun warmly, saying, I wanted to see you sooner, hinting at a deeper interest and eagerness behind his visit. With a charming smile, he adds that he was also curious about her taste in art, making the conversation feel more personal and intimate. Seo-hun blushes at his sweet words while Sunju in the background excitedly gushes. Wow, he's so romantic, amid sparkles and glitter. As Seo-hun pushes Kijin towards the exit, Seo-hun reminds Sunju to lock up and have a good evening. Seo-hun, flustered and hiding her face, admits inwardly that his lovey-dovey behavior is embarrassing. The car speeds off with a vroom, marking the start of their evening together, tinged with anticipation. Sitting in the passenger seat, she gazes out the window with a soft expression and quietly admits to herself, I kind of like it. Kijin suddenly poses a probing question, asking if she has an ex-lover who can't forget you, implying a deeper concern or jealousy. Stunned, Seo-hun's eyes widen as he continues, clarifying that he means someone who still has feelings for her. Flustered and defensive, she shouts, no. Why are you asking such a weird question? Clearly caught off guard. While driving, the man tells the woman he saw a strange man in the parking lot just moments ago. Surprised, Seo-hun questions him, asking, a strange man. Kijin recalled, suspicious man dressed in black with a cap hiding his face, peeking into the gallery. He couldn't make out the man's face. She wonders aloud if the man could be Sunju's boyfriend. The man dismisses that idea, revealing the stranger was lurking around her car specifically. She responds with surprise, really? She ponders the identity of the man but admits, no one comes to mind. Kijin tries to brush off the incident, saying, maybe I'm just overthinking it. She asks what happened to the stranger, and he explains that the man had already left by the time he parked his car. Concerned, Kijin suggests she check the parking lot's security footage when she has time and admits, I can't help but worry. She agrees to look into it. A brief moment of staring at each other, he scolds him lightly, saying, this isn't a laughing matter. She chuckles and replies it was because he was acting like a real husband. He questioned, isn't that what I am? She teasingly jabs back, calling him a husband who's just for show. Visibly wounded by her remark, he continues driving with a deadpan expression while a bold arrow labeled husband for show stabs into his pride. Trying to regain composure, he tells her to stop bringing up the past, reminding her they had agreed to move on, his words underscored by a subtle pout. She laughs warmly and promises to stop, brushing off the tension with a bright, carefree, okay, I'll stop. I promise. They arrived at Seo-hun's father's house. A finger presses a doorbell with a ding-dong. As they walk through the gate to the inside, she asks if he remembers her father. The two pairs of feet shown reflect their careful steps into a personal moment. He confesses that he doesn't just lack memory of her father, he's lost all data regarding her entire family. Despite this gap, he mentions he took lessons from Mr. On to make a good impression, hinting at effort behind his facade. She lights up as he hands her a gift bag, hoping the wine inside will please her father, a thoughtful gesture meant to bridge the distance. As they arrive at the doorstep, Seo-hun praises Kijin for going the extra mile, assuring him that her father will appreciate the effort. At sunset, Seo-hun stands frozen as a familiar voice calls her name, drawing her attention with a mix of surprise and uncertainty. A gentle smile plays on Seo-jun's face as he greets her warmly, saying, "It's been a while," the golden sky behind him echoing the emotion of the moment. Seo-hun recoils in shock, recognizing him instantly. Her mind screams, "Jong Seo-jun," as her expression hardens. From a distance, Seo-hun questions his presence, stunned, while Seo-jun explains that he recently returned to Korea and had tried to reach her, but she hadn't answered. With soft sincerity, Seo-jun tells her he waited after hearing she was coming for dinner, just to catch a glimpse of her again. Seo-hun's expression turns cold and hurt as she accuses him. "Why did you? You promised we'd never see each other again." In the tension of the moment, another hand firmly grabs Seo-hyun's, a silent but protective gesture breaking the heavy silence. Still holding her hand, Kijin beside Seo-hyun asserts calmly, "We're going to head in first," making it clear he's drawing a line between her and Seo-jun. The pair walk away hand in hand, their footsteps echoing with resolve as Seo-jun watches them retreat into the building. Inside, the atmosphere shifts to formal civility as everyone sits around the dinner table and the father announces, "Let's eat," ushering in an uneasy meal beneath layers of unspoken tension. Another man on the table expresses concern for Kijin, asking how he's doing after his recent accident. Kijin responds calmly, stating he's making a quick recovery and appears to be doing well physically. Kijin credits his recovery to Seo-hun's help and presence, while Seo-hun humbly tells him it wasn't necessary to say that. Seo-hun's father coldly states that it is a wife's duty to support her husband, reinforcing traditional expectations. Kijin adds warmly that he would be happy to have Seo-hun with him all the time, suggesting his appreciation goes beyond obligation. He quickly follows up by acknowledging Seo-hun's talent, saying it would be a waste to keep someone of her abilities at home. Seo-hun is touched and surprised. Kijin shares that he visited her gallery earlier and was amazed at how well she had managed it, noting it looked more modern than when his mother was in charge. Seo-hun gazes softly, visibly moved, as she expresses confidence that the gallery will thrive under her leadership. Kijin then looks towards Seo-hun's father and says he must be very proud of his daughter, placing her success front and center at the table. Her father awkwardly agrees, clearing his throat with a strained expression, suggesting unease behind his forced approval. Seo-hun receives a rare compliment from her father, who acknowledges her hard work by saying, "You've done well, Seo-hun." Taken aback but grateful, she softly responds with a polite, "Thank you." A warm moment unfolds as Seo-hun giggles and beams at Kijin, who looks at her fondly. The soft lighting and floral overlay emphasize the growing closeness between them. The tender atmosphere is abruptly shattered by a loud slam, as someone forcefully strikes the table, fork in hand, an explosion of tension in the middle of the dinner. A dark aura surrounds Seo-jun, whose cold expression and intense glare suggest burning resentment or jealousy as he stares at the couple. After the meal, Seo-hun's father turns to Kijin and asks, "Can I have a word with you?" They both exchange a firm, serious gaze. As the two men walk off together, Seo-hun watches and thinks to herself that it's obvious. He's going to ask Kijin to fund his nomination fee for the general election. Another man excitedly examines an expensive bottle of wine, marveling that it costs as much as a car, and praises Kijin for being very considerate. Beaming with delight, the man suggests, "We should put this on display," clearly impressed by the gift, while Seo-hun and Seo-jun in the background remain seated. Feeling out of place, Seo-hun rises from her seat, thinking to herself, "This is awkward," as the atmosphere becomes increasingly uncomfortable. As she begins to leave the room, Seo-jun reaches out and says, "Wait, Seo-hun," trying to stop her from walking away. Seo-hun turns around and responds coldly with, "What?" her expression guarded and wary. Looking somewhat nervous and hesitant, Seo-jun softly asks, "Can we talk?" revealing a vulnerability in his tone. Under the evening sky, Seo-hun faces him and demands, "What is it? Get to the point," not hiding her frustration. With a close-up of his lips, the man finally begins to open up, saying, "I really regret," leaving his confession hanging in the air. What happened that day? Seo-jun expresses deep remorse, admitting he blamed himself every day and constantly worried about her, acknowledging her pain and apologizing sincerely. Seo-hun's inner thoughts reveal her disbelief and anger as she silently fumes. How shameless can he be? The man, Jong Seo-jun, her stepbrother's best friend, who lives next door and works as a veterinarian. A flashback shows a young Seo-hun cheerfully asking, "Do my homework with me," as she smiles up at a boy, young Seo-jun. Young Seo-jun affectionately agrees, patting her head while she laughs joyfully, with narration revealing he always cared for her like a sister. The memory continues with the two sitting closely on a couch, bonding over shared moments and childhood admiration. She reflects, "We were close, and I looked up to him a lot." That warm reflection is suddenly disrupted by the looming reminder. Until that incident took place. Seo-hun is startled awake to find Seo-jun stumbling into her room, clearly drunk. She nervously murmurs, "Seo-jun," and realizes he's drunk. Seo-jun, leaning over her with flushed cheeks and heavy breath, whispers her name, Seo-hun, as tension builds under the dark backdrop. A shadowy figure looms threateningly over Seo-hun as she gasps in horror. Her scream of "No" echoes into the silence, filled with dread and resistance. In a quick and desperate motion, Seo-hun snatches her wrist violently from Seo-jun's grasp. The action is abrupt, tense, and fueled by raw emotion. Seo-hun bolts for the door, her hand clutching something as she dashes away, refusing to look back. The man behind her watches in stunned silence, unable to stop her retreat. A solemn wedding portrait shows a couple, both wearing stoic expressions. Seo-hun reflects regretfully, admitting that the marriage was a hasty decision made to escape the aftermath of a traumatic event. "We agreed to never see each other again." The statement feels final, heavy with unresolved tension. Seo-jun confronts the man, accusing him of breaking her request to stay away from family gatherings. She expresses regret, saying she wouldn't have come if she had known he would be there. A flashback reveals a sick puppy lying on the floor, bandaged and frail. She recalls contacting the man just once after everything, to arrange a surgery for the dog she was sponsoring. Tensions rise as a flashback shows the couple mid-argument. She confesses that their already strained relationship deteriorated further after that day, and she sincerely wished it would be the last time she ever saw him. Back in the present, Seo-jun gently apologizes, explaining that her brother told him she would be present. Concern etched on his face, he reveals he came after hearing about her husband's car accident, worried for her well-being. With subtle sarcasm, Seo-hun questions his sudden concern, noting that she thought he was abroad doing volunteer work. Her expression and crossed arms convey skepticism and cold detachment. She coldly tells him to stop acting so desperate, making it clear that she only agreed to meet him to say this one thing. Her tone is detached and final. With her face turned away, she firmly reminds him to keep his promise, to never come near her again. Her words slice through the night with finality. She closes her eyes and turns away, her hair whipping in the wind as he remains still behind her. Suddenly, Seo-jun dashes forward, shouting that he couldn't help it. He just missed her too much. His emotions finally burst through his restraint. Shocked, she turns around and asks what he just said, unable to process his sudden confession. Her face is a mix of disbelief and inner turmoil. He confesses again. He missed her and wanted to see her so badly that he flew all the way back. His words echo with longing and desperation. She erupts, shouting at him in fury, reminding him that she is married. Her anger reveals the impossibility of the situation. Clutching his chest, he admits he can't control his feelings. His pain is raw and unfiltered. With eyes full of sincerity, he tells her he really missed her. That's the only reason he came back. His voice trembles with truth. She turns away with disgust, declaring his confession revolting. Her expression hardens, signaling the final blow to his hope. She told him that she'll pretend she didn't hear him. Him acting this way is just going to drive them even further apart. She doesn't expect him to wish her well. So just let her forget him. As she walks away, Seo-jun yells, "Wait, I'm not done yet," and grabs her wrist, desperation flashing across his face. He scolds her to lower her voice, reminding her they're at her parents' house, while he holds her wrist in frustration. Panicked, Seohan threatens to scream if he doesn't release her, but suddenly someone steps in. Seohan flinches and her expression changes as she softly utters, "Kijun," revealing the identity of the approaching figure. Seojun calmly asks Kijun to give them space, stating they're having an important conversation. With a sharp look, Kijun firmly tells him to let go of her hand, his tone low but commanding. Seojun angrily protests, insisting they're having an important talk, as he tightens his hold and positions himself protectively between her and Kijun. Kijun's shoes step forward with authority, declaring that not even $1 billion deal would justify leaving the two alone. Tension crackles in the air as both men face off in a cold, intense glare, while Seohan stands on the side silently between them. Kijun, with a sharp glare and commanding tone, warns that nothing good happens to people who lay their hands on my wife, asserting his protective stance. Seojun responds with a calm but dismissive expression, saying, "We're practically family," trying to justify his closeness to Seohan. With explosive force, Kijun knocks Seojun's hand away as he grips Seojun's wrist tightly, calling out his gaze, his actions, and his tone. None of them imply family in any way, prompting Seojun to wince in pain and exclaim, "Ugh." Kijun coldly challenges the man with a cutting question. "Are you sure that's the defense you want to use?" With explosive tension, Seojun yanks his arm away from another's grasp, the action charged with hostility and resentment. Seojun, eyes blazing with anger, confronts Kijun, yelling, "You have no right to come between us." Calm but firm, Kijun declares, "She's my wife," claiming his ground with an unshakable stare. Seojun lowers his tone slightly, but his words remain sharp. "This is a private matter," he says coldly. Their confrontation grows more tense as their feet nearly touch. Kijun warns, "If you truly see her as just a childhood friend," he delivers a chilling threat, locking eyes and stating, "Don't cross the line you're currently stepping on." Fury erupts as Seojun grabs Kijun by the collar, shouting, "You son of a," while the word grab punctuates the scene. Seohan steps in, distressed and desperate, crying out, "Please stop. Both of you." She places herself between the two men, pleading for calm. "I think there's been a misunderstanding. I'll explain everything. So for now, let's just get out of here." As she walks away with Kijun, Seojun calls out after her in anguish, "Seohan, please," with his teeth clenched and eyes filled with growing frustration as he watched the two retreating back. Returning home together, Seohan sighs wearily, admitting she doesn't even know how they got back, while Kijun follows closely behind, silently brooding. Kijun loosens his tie and coldly commands, "Now, explain," clearly determined to get answers without delay. She hesitates but questions him, asking how much he overheard, to which he replies firmly, "Just start from the beginning," offering no room for evasion. Focusing her thoughts, she tells herself, "Don't be nervous. Just relax and speak," as she tries to steady her emotions before diving into painful memories. She finally begins, revealing that Seojun did something to her that she couldn't overlook, and so she asked for space, her voice steady but firm. Kijun steps closer, sharply adding that she's smart enough to know he isn't asking about trivial matters, making it clear he wants the whole truth. Confronting her directly, Kijun warns, "Tell me, before I really get the wrong idea," his voice rising with restrained fury as he looms over her. Internally, she acknowledges that Kijun is relentless like a bulldog when he's after the truth, but the weight of what she must say still terrifies her. Her thoughts spiral as she silently asks herself how she could ever tell him that Seojun once came into her room drunk and tried to kiss her when no one else was home. Overwhelmed by past memories, the woman feels like she's suffocating just thinking about that moment. Her expression darkens, caught in a storm of emotions she's struggling to contain. She resists opening up, whispering internally, "I don't want to tell him. I can't." Her voice barely audible, she firmly declares the issue as a private matter between her and someone else. Facing the man before her, she snaps with defiance, reminding him that even though he's her lawful husband, he has no right to intrude into her personal life. Her tone is sharp, her boundaries clearly drawn. He confronts her with a heavy question, asking, "Did you love that man?" Her heart pounds, stunned by the weight and vulnerability of the inquiry. Infuriated, she turns sharply and yells, "Are you crazy? How can you even ask that?" Her emotions boil over, refusing to let the accusation stand. He retorts bitterly, revealing his jealousy. "The way he looked at you was like how a man looks at a woman." His words carry both pain and accusation. Angered, she commands him to watch your mouth. "I won't tolerate you making assumptions and jumping to your own conclusions about me, even if you're my husband," she declares. Internally, she clenches her fist, wishing to forget everything and move on like nothing happened. But the ache remains, raw and unresolved. Tears brimming in her eyes, she silently pleads with her anguish expression, "Stop rubbing salt into my wound." Kijin looks shocked and hurt as he stares at Seohan, brooding within him if she's making that expression because of another man. Jealousy and heartbreak flash across his face. He confronts Seohan angrily, demanding to know why she's defending a man who doesn't even respect her as a married woman. The emotional tension between them escalates. Just thinking of Seohan once embraced someone she truly loved, holding on to him with quiet longing. Her feelings had always belonged elsewhere, angered him. Kijin silently questions why it feels like Seohan is pushing him away. Her distant gaze and calm expression leave him feeling shut out. Pain throbs behind Kijin's eyes as he closes them, overwhelmed. Without a word, he turns away from Seohan, making a decision. As he walks toward the elevator, Seohan calls out, asking where he's going. Kijin doesn't answer, determined to leave the confrontation behind. Seohan watches him with concern and a hint of regret, softly calling his name, "Kijin," as he walks back out, slamming the door. Kijin drives alone through the night, the city lights and bridge rushing past as the engine roars. The distance between them grows with each mile. Frustration explodes inside him. He slams his fist against the wheel and yells, "Damn it!" The pain of the situation becomes unbearable. With gritted teeth, Kijin questions himself, "Should I have pretended not to see anything?" His anger mixes with heartbreak, torn between what's right and what hurts. He reflects on the situation, acknowledging that it's a matter between two people. Despite only having a hunch, he wonders if turning a blind eye would have made him feel any better. With piercing clarity, he remembers what he saw. There was no mistaking the glint of lust in Seojin's eyes. His denial crumbles under the weight of what he knows he witnessed. Overcome with rage, he nearly loses all rational thought when he sees Seojun grab her wrist. The moment is etched in his mind, intense and vivid. Driving through the night, he scoffs at the phrase, "practically family," clenching the wheel in anger. His bitter laughter hints at deeper emotions bubbling beneath the surface. Stepping out of the car, he prepares to confront the truth head-on. He calls out into the quiet night, "What's your side of the story, Jong Seon?" Standing alone under the city lights, he ponders her reactions, how she flinched at the smallest actions and avoided discussing her past. The breeze carries his heavy thoughts across the skyline. A soft expression overtakes his face as he quietly questions if everything she went through was because of that man. The weight of this possibility stirs something deep within him. A hand hovers over a phone screen with Mr. On's number dialed in, ready to call. The moment lingers with uncertainty, as if the truth is just one conversation away. He lifts his phone and makes a call, introducing himself to Mr. On with quiet urgency. The atmosphere is tense as the city glows behind him. Staring out over the river, he demands a thorough background check on Jong Seojun, his family, workplace, and every current detail. His words carry a sense of suspicion and determination. Mr. On, looking serious and startled, confirms the target is Ms. Young's close family friend and promises to begin the investigation immediately. With cold focus and a piercing gaze, Kijin commands Mr. On to have the information ready by the time he arrives at the office. His tone leaves no room for delay. Water pours down from the showerhead, filling the bathroom with steam and a calming sound as someone takes a quiet moment alone. Seohun, fresh from the shower, dries her hair and adjusts her robe, her face calm but contemplative. Standing in her room, she looks around and wonders aloud. Kijin still isn't back. Her solitude is starting to weigh on her. She checks the time on her phone, 11:48 p.m. on Friday, July 3rd, and wonders if Kijin plans to sleep elsewhere tonight. Sitting in front of her vanity, she reflects with concern. He's definitely going to ask me about Seo-jun again. What should I tell him? Her face grows tense as she acknowledges to herself, I can't keep avoiding the conversation forever. Worried, she imagines the worst. If she tells Kijun the truth, he might try to kill Seo-jun. Collapsing onto the bed in frustration, she bitterly mutters, why do I care if he dies or not? He's not my friend anymore. With her hand clutching her chest, she thinks in silence. Kijun matters more to me than anything else right now. She runs her hand across the empty bed and murmurs, has this bed always been this huge? There is an event. The setting is a sleek, modern lounge that sparkles with elegance, yet remains eerily empty. A sense of anticipation lingers in the air, waiting for someone important to arrive. The glamorous Seo-hun scans the room, noting Kijun's absence and wondering aloud if he will appear at all tonight. Her expression betrays a hint of worry and disappointment. The event introduces Luminous, an exclusive socialite club. It's a domain reserved for the powerful heirs and heiresses of elite families marked by immense wealth, fame, or influence. It reveals that despite her father's rise from poverty to congressman, she still doesn't belong. Her entry into this elite circle only came through marrying Kijun, underscoring how foreign their world remains to her. She reflects on how the privileged elite never truly welcomed her. In their eyes, she is nothing but a commoner, undeserving of their company. Their scrutinizing stares make her feel like an intruder. Every look they cast seems to search for flaws, as if to confirm she doesn't belong. Despite her discomfort, she remains composed, aware that her affiliation with Samwha Corporation ties her to these people. She walks among them like an outsider navigating enemy territory. She admits to herself that if Kijun were with her, she would have felt less alone. His presence would have been a shield against the social scrutiny closing in on her. Aware of how quickly vultures circle the vulnerable, she strategizes to avoid interactions until Kijun arrives. She moves with quiet purpose, trying to stay out of view. Standing alone against the city's night lights, she quietly acknowledges how deeply these people exclude outsiders. Her solitude becomes a silent act of resilience. About 5 months ago, during another luminous event, after coming out from the female restroom, Seo-hun's eye reveals her sudden recognition as she softly mutters, is that, inside the venue, a young woman with violet hair is seen speaking to a man in a suit. He tentatively asks, Ms. Song? Indicating surprise at Ms. Song's presence. Seo-hun, now visibly alarmed, questions aloud why Ms. Song is here, noting that she shouldn't be able to enter without an invitation. The suited man confirms that Ms. Song indeed does not have an invitation, but he expresses no surprise at this fact, implying skepticism or disdain. Seo-hun's internal thought asks, is she looking for Kijun, revealing possible motives behind Ms. Song's unexpected arrival. Seo-hun, resentful, thinks bitterly, how dare a mistress like her show her face around here, hinting at past scandal and hostility. With firm resolve, Seo-hun prepares to intervene, thinking, I should warn her to leave before Kijun gets here. Before she can act, a confident blonde man steps into the scene, surprising Seo-hun. He appears interested in Ms. Song. The blonde man casually offers to escort Ms. Song inside, suggesting, I could bring you inside as my +1 if we click, displaying both charm and boldness. Song Chiron politely explains that she's only there to return her boss's phone, which he left in the car, and asks the man if he could retrieve him. Curious, he asks, who's your boss? She answers confidently that her boss is Executive Director Ma Kijun of Samwha Corporation. The man reacts with a sly smirk, amused that she is Kijun's secretary. Seo-hun, watching from afar, recognizes the man. She recalls him as Park Do-hyung, the second son of Deepening Corporation, a major rival to Samwha. Though it is a powerful company, its recent electronic products have all been outperformed by Samwha. Park Do-hyung taunts the secretary with a condescending, that's too bad for you, and then unexpectedly lifts her chin with his finger, causing her to react with a startled, excuse me. Wearing a sly smile, Do-hyung asks what she can offer in return for the favor, suggesting they go to a lower floor with a place with an amazing view, implying ill intentions. From a distance, Seo-hun observes the interaction and deduces the floor below houses hotel suites. She disgustedly labels him a pervert. The secretary firmly decides to deliver the phone herself, but as she turns away, Do-hyung abruptly snatches the phone from her, mocking her attempt with "nice try." Holding the phone out of her reach, Do-hyung criticizes her for being just as rude as her boss for making a stranger run an errand. She pleads with him to return it, saying he's making things difficult. He arrogantly challenges her with, "Oh yeah? What are you gonna do about it?" as she demands, "Give it back." In a rising tone of frustration, Do-hyung explodes in anger, calling her a peasant and questioning who she thinks she is to order him around. She flinches and cries out in pain as he assaults her. The attention of the crowd shifts as murmurs rise. Ma Kijin, the executive director, arrives on the scene, walking toward the commotion with purpose. Ma Kijin, now close, commands with icy authority, "Take your dirty hand off my belongings," firmly grabbing Do-hyung's wrist. With a mocking grin, Do-hyung provocatively holds up both the secretary's hand and the phone, asking which of the two Ma Kijin is referring to as his belongings. Kijin abruptly snatches his phone back from Park Do-hyung, signaling immediate tension between them as the atmosphere turns icy. With a smug grin, Do-hyung provocatively asks if he can fool around with Kijin's secretary, complaining that all the girls at Luminous are taken. Kijin coolly responds that Do-hyung can do whatever he wants, so long as she agrees. Do-hyung is stunned by how calmly Kijin responds, admitting internally that he only wanted to provoke him out of frustration from constant comparisons with Kijin by his own father. Resentment bubbling, Do-hyung considers leaning into the chaos and having some fun now that things have escalated. Smirking, Do-hyung directly offers Song Chaerin 100 million won for the night, pointing out her boss already gave the okay. He intensifies the insult by adding that 100 million won for 10 minutes is a tempting deal, challenging her with a smug, "What are you going to do, Miss Song?" Kijin retaliates with a cutting remark, suggesting Do-hyung might not even last 10 minutes, maybe just 5, leaving everyone shocked. Do-hyung explodes in anger, shouting an insult as he lunges at Kijin with a wine bottle, but a security guard grabs his arm to restrain him. Security intervenes to calm the scuffle as Kijin watches silently, while Song Chaerin stands aside looking uneasy. As Kijin calmly walks away with Song Chaerin, leaving Do-hyung behind. Strangely, what she felt while watching that incident was envy. Back to the present time, Seo-hun's hand gently touches the large glass window reminiscing of the past event and wonders with longing, will he ever go to her aid one day like he did for Song Chaerin? A woman with striking green eyes approaches Seo-hun, confirming if her identity as the wife of Ma Kijin from Sama Corporation. Seo-hun responds, slightly wary, "Yes, I am." The woman introduces herself with a confident smile as Lee Yunjin, noting it's their first time meeting at Luminous. Seo-hun reflects internally, recognizing Yunjin as the daughter of Lee Sang-chul, a political rival of her father's. She recalls seeing Yunjin before during election campaigns. Seo-hun politely replies, "Nice to meet you," but her reserved expression hints at caution rather than warmth. Yunjin probes further, asking if Seo-hun is waiting for her husband. Seo-hun smiles slightly and answers, "I'll go in soon." Though Yunjin continues smiling, Seo-hun senses no genuine goodwill behind it. She notes that if Yunjin's father had won the last election, Yunjin might have been the one to marry Kijin instead. Seo-hun, poised but distant, tells Yunjin that she's waiting for Kijin, who should arrive soon. She turns away politely, saying, "Have a good evening." Yunjin lingers, making a pointed remark, "Sama Corporation sure is powerful. Wouldn't you agree?" The tone unsettles Seo-hun. Seo-hyun's demeanor shifts from composed to sharp. She turns around, her voice edged with disbelief. "Excuse me?" Standing near a grand window, Yunjin comments on the immense power of Sama Corporation, subtly asserting dominance in her poised stance. She recalls how her father lost his political nomination after a sudden change, hinting that Seo-hun's marriage into the Sama family was the likely cause. Seo-hun, taken aback, demands clarification, clearly unsettled by the accusation and its implications. Yunjin delivers a veiled warning, suggesting they won't lose again. Seo-hun firmly distances herself from her father's affairs, claiming disinterest. She doesn't even know much about that topic. Whispers spread among onlookers as their hushed voices and tense stances make it clear an argument is unfolding in public view. As a man approaches, he asks what's going on, and Yunjin welcomes him with a knowing smirk, calling him babe. Recognition flashes across the Seo-hun's face. With narrowed eyes, she thinks, that guy is it's best not to get involved with scum like him. Yunjin introduces Seohun as the wife of Ma Kijin from Samacorp and proudly presents Park Do-hyung as her fiancé, implying deliberate provocation. With a smile, Park Do-hyung greets the woman warmly, feigning ignorance of the tension, and says he didn't realize she and Seohyun knew each other. He hands out a sealed envelope while announcing, "Here's an invitation to our wedding." Yunjin smiles confidently and invites Seohyun to attend if she has time. Her expression and posture radiate arrogance. As noted by the internal monologue, she's flaunting her engagement to the heir of Daesung Corporation. Seohyun politely acknowledges the wedding date at the Shinra Hotel, but internally suspects the invitation was given out of rivalry. She finds the bride to be a handful, hinting at deeper personal conflict. Seohyun turns away after calmly saying, "I'll see you at your wedding," while Yunjin watches her in silence, her gaze unreadable. Yunjin suddenly accuses Seohyun of insincerity and implies judgment over the groom's second marriage, her tone sharp beneath a mocking smile. Taken aback, Seohyun finds the remark unpleasant and defends herself, saying she didn't even know it was the groom's second wedding, asking not to have her goodwill misjudged. Feigning innocence, Yunjin laughs it off, saying it was just a joke and that Seohyun takes things too seriously, though her dismissiveness feels calculated. Someone claps sharply to interrupt the rising tension and says, Now. Enough with the small talk," shifting the scene with a commanding presence. The smug-looking Do-hyung wonders aloud if Kijin has arrived yet, clearly anticipating his reaction to the alliance between Daesung Corp and President Lee Sang-chul. Smirking slyly, he adds a cryptic remark about which son-in-law will present a gold badge in the upcoming election, hinting at political games and ulterior motives behind the wedding. Seohyun confronts the pair with fiery anger, shouting that she doesn't care, only to be met with a cutting retort from Yunjin accusing her of lacking confidence. With cold determination in her eyes, Seohyun declares inwardly that she can no longer tolerate this nonsense. She unleashes her sharp tongue, calling out the couple's behavior as repugnant and mocking their behavior as pathetic for Luminous, a club that consists of the top 0.01% elites. Their attack is petty because their father lost the previous election. Furious, Do-hyung grabs her by the shoulders and demands clarification, his pride wounded by her comment, calling him pathetic. He insults her, attributing her presence in the club solely to Ma Kijin, calling her worthless. Unshaken, Seohyun confidently replies that while she wasn't born into an elite family, she now has Ma Kijin supporting her, and demands permission to continue. She lashes out again, accusing the couple of being cowardly and disgracefully uneducated, acting like children in a public place. Enraged, Do-hyung raises his hand, shouting in fury as if preparing to strike her. Before he can follow through, someone swiftly kicks him away with great force, knocking him aside in defense of Seohyun. Staggering from the impact, the man glares around in rage, demanding to know who dared to intervene. With a cold, piercing glare, Kijin delivers a sharp remark, accusing the man of failing to entertain someone else's wife and warning that such tedious matters are rude to discuss. And by the way, he was aiming at a fly. Do-hyung responds with disbelief like he would believe that excuse. Kijin smirks as he delivers a final blow, taunting, "Cat got your tongue? Well, I'm glad that shut you up," relishing in his verbal dominance. Tension simmers as Kijin walks past Do-hyung calmly, while the embarrassed Do-hyung clutches his face in defeat, overwhelmed by humiliation. Kijin approaches Seohyun, dressed elegantly in black, their eyes locking in a silent yet intimate moment filled with unspoken reassurance. He offers a gentle but firm reminder, telling her she should have stood up for herself if she knew he had her back, his voice both chastising and supportive. Seohyun's expression softens, her hand over her chest as she breathes his name, Kijin, her voice trembling with emotion and trust. Kijin extends his hand with a subtle step forward, asking, "Shall we?" inviting her with calm confidence and charm. They walk off together hand in hand, leaving behind the bitter Do-hyung who growls under his breath, "That arrogant bastard." Seething with jealousy and smugness, Do-hyung gloats to his companion, boasting about his political connections and mocking Kijin, believing his downfall is near. Kijin sighs in frustration and instructs Do-hyung to investigate who the president of the Nomination Management Committee is. In the background, Do-hyung stands nervously with Yunjin, sensing the gravity of the task. Do-hyung looks confused and stares blankly ahead, asking, "The nomination management committee? What's that?" Now flustered and overwhelmed, Do-hyung yells, "Explain so I can understand." His expression bursts into exaggerated panic, desperate for clarity. A visual explanation appears. The nomination management committee approves any party nominations, and its president is revealed to be Choi Hyung-woo. The narrator emphasizes not to forget this name, marking its importance. That's where everything begins. It's revealed that Choi Hyung-woo is fiercely loyal to Chairman Ma, to the extent he'd jump off a bridge if ordered. Kijin, shown in a sharp profile, commands with cold resolve, "Do your best, whether you have to spend your money or use your connections," pushing for a relentless pursuit of influence. He then declares his intent clearly, "I'll treat you like a real competitor," addressing Do-hyung and Yeonjun with steely determination. Under the night sky, the atmosphere shifts. Kijin offers a glass of wine to Seo-hun seated by the pool, calmly instructing her to drink this. She, blushing, thinks nervously, "How awkward. This is my first time seeing him after our argument last night." She wonders how to break the ice. Kijin manages a hesitant response, saying, "Oh, I'm sorry I was late," trying to mend the silence with vulnerability and remorse. Seo-hun tries to brush off the moment, assuring him that it wasn't on purpose while laughing it off. Kijin sits beside her, clearly tense and holding his wine glass with a distracted expression. He surprises her by admitting, "It was, actually." Seo-hun reacts with shock, asking, "What?" Caught off guard by his honesty. Kijin reveals a vulnerable truth, confessing that he wanted to see her panic without him, admitting that he wanted her to look for him and need him. Seo-hun listens quietly, clearly moved and stunned by his confession. Kijin acknowledges the immaturity of his actions, calling them painfully childish. His face reflects guilt and frustration over how he handled things. He admits to getting mad and not understanding the full reason for his anger. Kijin confesses that the thought of another man touching her made his blood boil. His clenched posture reveals how much it affected him. He pleads for clarity, saying the images in his head were dangerous and that he needed assurance nothing happened, that it was just a misunderstanding. His face emphasizes his vulnerability as he repeats that he wished it was all his own misinterpretation, highlighting his inner torment. Seo-hun realizes she misunderstood Kijin's motives. As they sit together under the night sky, he apologizes for being overly sensitive, and she softly replies, "It's not your fault." She admits that it is true, but insists she never meant to hide it from him, her voice tinged with guilt as she faces the weight of her silence. With pain in her eyes, she confesses that even talking about the incident feels like reliving the trauma, each word reopening old wounds. Her inner monologue reveals a buried truth. She was almost assaulted by her brother's best friend, a haunting secret she had sworn never to reveal. Though she had long intended to carry the burden alone, she can no longer hide it from Kijin. His growing suspicion leaves her with no choice. She has to tell him. As she begins to speak, Seo-jun and I. Her trembling voice halts, caught between fear and confession, just as he leans in close. Overwhelmed by emotion, their lips meet in a tender kiss under the starry sky, surrounded by soft glowing flowers, as the silence between them deepens into understanding. The air between them crackles with tension as they lean in close, their lips connecting, kissing, breathless and trembling. Their parted lips hover just inches apart, caught in a moment too delicate to break. The single "ha" as their lips departed reflects the weight of unspoken emotions. Seo-hun stares at him, startled and wide-eyed, as he says, "Don't tell me." Her expression is laced with hesitation, unsure of what he's implying or where the conversation is headed. Her voice rises in frustration as she turns to the side, eyes burning with emotion. "I thought you wanted to know what happened between me and Seo-jun," she says, demanding clarity and honesty. With a calm and bittersweet expression, he replies, "Not anymore." He softens, assuring her she doesn't need to relive painful memories, especially if they're too difficult to face. He gently caresses her cheek, his eyes reflecting both concern and restraint. His internal words whisper, "Just don't," as if shielding her from her own past. Overwhelmed, she gazes into his eyes as he leans in, cradling her face with his hand. Again, their lips meet in a tender kiss, a gesture of comfort, vulnerability, and unspoken promises. Seated together on a lounge chair under the night sky, Kijin makes a bold, teasing offer. I can bury him 6 feet under the ground for you. His dramatic declaration makes Seo-hun laugh, wine in hand, as the atmosphere shifts to playful flirtation. With a mischievous smirk, she pokes him in the chest and counters, not under the ground, but here. Her gesture turns the conversation from violent exaggeration to tender suggestion, hinting at a more intimate longing. He lifts his glass of red wine and, with a calm and suave tone, says, "In that case, I would like to be repaid." Facing her under the glittering sky, he finishes his statement, "With wine that's scented with you." His eyes lock onto hers, deepening the tension as the flirtation teeters into seduction. She brings the glass to her lips and takes a slow sip. Her expression caught between embarrassment but boldness, she reaches her hand across his neck and pulls him in for a passionate kiss. Their kiss turns more intense as he pushes her down on the cot, while hand slides sensually along her thigh, further pushing the boundaries of their flirtation toward physical intimacy. Abruptly pulling back, she scolds him, "Kijin, you can't do this here." Flustered, she demands he remove his hand, worried someone might see. While he tries to protest with a simple, but resigned, Kijin slouches back onto the lounge chair and mutters, all right. His body language reads both playful and disappointed, while she remains seated, still slightly breathless. Looking at her with quiet frustration, Kijin admits, "You just get me so revved up." She responds in innocent confusion, asking, "What did I do?" As the tension between them lingers, unresolved but crackling. Sitting next to her, Kijin gazes with quiet desperation and asks, "You never let me touch you even when we're sleeping in the same bed. Do you know how torturous that is for a man of my age?" His expression is filled with disappointment. Her eyes soften as she blushed, touched by his vulnerability. She gently responds, "I want you to be fully recovered first." He questions, "Does that mean I can hold you every day once I'm all healed?" She retorted, "Every day? Says who?" He reasoned for her to stop pushing him away. It might help him recover his memories. She comforts him that he doesn't have to be in such a hurry. It's fine even if he cannot get back his memories. She is happy with the way things are right now. It feels like they're each other's first love. He humps unhappily and voices his dissatisfaction. "To me, it feels more like a one-sided crush than a first love. A really desperate one." She told him that's a bit pessimistic. She's sure it's not that bad. He leans into her, his head resting on her shoulder as he asks innocently, "How much longer do I have to beg?" He answered bashfully, "I'm trying as well." He confesses, "You're the only one I can lean on." A flashback surfaces as he recalls waking up in the hospital. He tells her that seeing her face in that moment brought him relief. He sweetly tells her, "Of course, it didn't hurt that you're so beautiful, too." Catching her off guard with his charm. She whispers his name, Kijin, struck by his sincerity. Beneath a dreamy, starlit sky, Kijin suggests, "Let's just stay here for another 10 minutes. Wishing to prolong their quiet moment together. Someone called out to Kijin. Seo-hun and Kijin are warmly greeted by Byung-kwan, who says it's the first time he's seen Seo-yeon since the wedding. There's a casual and friendly exchange as they reconnect. Byung-kwan looks around and asks curiously, "Huh? Ms. Song isn't here with you today?" prompting a subtle shift in tone. He refers to the female secretary who came along with you to Luminous last time, recalling her beauty and how he persistently asked for an introduction because she was so pretty and sexy. Kijin calmly responds, "Oh, her, she quit a while ago. I'd forgotten about her," brushing it off with an air of nonchalance. Byung-kwan expresses mild disappointment. "Really? What a shame," before being interrupted by a greeting from across the room that pulls his attention away. With a cheerful wave, Byung-kwan says, "Well, I'll be on my way now. I'll see you later," while Kijin and Seo-hun stand silently behind him, their expressions unreadable. Kijin remains still, a quiet HM, escaping his lips, suggesting a moment of silent contemplation stirred by the mention of the former secretary. At home, as Seo-hun was getting ready for bed, she's startled by Kijin's question, "Who's Ms. Song?" Her expression tinged with concern and uncertainty. She asked, "Is that what you were thinking about in the car?" Kijin, lounging nearby, observes her closely as he confesses that the thought has been bothering him. In response, Seo-hun sets down the bottle and explains that Ms. Song was someone who used to work for him, but quit a while ago due to personal reasons. Kijin appears indifferent and declares, "I don't remember anything about her." Seo-hun tries to reason that she's not someone of importance. Internally, Seo-hun admits to feeling a little guilty for dismissing Ms. Song so easily, suspecting that she might have been the most important person in Kijin's past. Trying to ease the tension, Seo-hun flops onto the bed and tells Kijin not to worry. After all, he has selective amnesia and might not remember a lot of people. With a gentle smile, Kijin reassures her, saying, "The only person I have on my mind is Jong Seo-hun," a tender declaration meant to soothe her doubts. As they lay together, Kijin softly pleads, "Let's sleep like this tonight. You always use my ribs as an excuse to push me away, so at least let me have this." Seo-hun was about to tell him something, but her word was cut short when Kijin pecked her on the forehead and whispered, "Sweet dreams," the warmth between them deepening. A new day begins under a bright blue sky. Mr. On greets, "Good morning, sir," hinting at the next shift in their lives beyond the quiet night. Mr. Ma questions if the materials he requested have been prepared, and the assistant confirms he has gathered the documents related to a project Mr. Ma and President Ma Kitai were working on. The assistant explains that the documents are primarily about rare earth elements imported from China and assures they've been organized by priority for easy review. Kijin acknowledges the work with a curt, approving "good work," indicating his satisfaction. The assistant exits the office after saying, "I'll be right outside. Please let me know if you need anything else," as the office door clicks shut behind him. As Kijin is left alone, he begins to reflect on a vague memory of someone else, specifically, a woman, who once used to walk through that door, someone who wasn't Mr. On. He begins to question the timeline, wondering if Mr. On has always worked for him, then recalls that a year ago, Mr. On didn't report to him. The voice of that image calling, Mr. Ma, echoes as a buried memory stirs. Suddenly, Kijin clutches his head in pain with a sharp UGH, as the word throb emphasizes the sudden, overwhelming headache. With a shaky hand, he presses a button on the desk phone. A voice on the line responds, "Yes, Mr. Ma. What can I do for you?" He begins to sway, visibly dizzy and gasping, "Ha, ha," while his vision distorts and sweat beads down his face. The concerned voice from the phone repeats, "Mr. Ma." Kijin's body collapses to the floor with a heavy impact, unconscious beside his desk, papers scattered, and the room thrown into silent alarm. Mr. On asks if a doctor is needed, seeing Kijin clearly exhausted. Kijin sighs and insists he's fine, explaining that the fatigue came from forcing himself to recall something. He likely overexerted himself mentally. Mr. On questions what was so important to remember, reminding him that he could have just asked instead of straining himself. His tone suggests both concern and mild frustration. Kijin, now composed, straightens his posture and formally asked, "Mr. On, tell me about Ms. Song." Mr. On flinches at the unexpected topic. He calmly reveals that Ms. Song used to work there for a while, his expression neutral but knowing, leaving Mr. On to absorb the information. Kijin asks if that's all there is to say. Mr. On replies that there's really not much to report and questions why he's suddenly curious about her. Sitting up abruptly, Kijin says someone brought her up yesterday. Mr. On, still composed, confirms, "Yesterday, you mean at Luminous?" Ms. Song had been with him the last time he visited Luminous. He finds it strange, saying he wouldn't have brought just anyone there, implying she held a special status. He questions internally whether Mr. Ma really brought Song Chiron to Luminous. It's the first he's heard of it, and he wonders if she acted independently. A flashback internal monologue reveals that the last Luminous meeting happened 5 months ago. It was Ms. Zhang's first time attending, meaning Mr. Ma would have been preoccupied introducing her, raising more questions about how Ms. Song ended up there. The two weren't even involved with each other at that time, emphasizing a lack of prior connection. So he admits, "I sent her there," which surprises Kijin, who responds, "You did?" Mr. On explains that about 5 months ago, he was away on business in Dubai, and Ms. Song assisted during his absence by covering for him at Luminous. He reiterates that Ms. Song supported the younger man during his time away, subtly emphasizing her previous involvement in their company. He asked if he should start investigating her background, offering to compile a detailed report on her and her family. Kijin declines the investigation and asks if her resume is still on file. His subordinate confirms they retain all employee resumes for 3 years. Mr. On states that the company keeps all resumes for 3 years after the employee leaves the company. He demands to see the resume, requesting her photo to help identify her. A resume labeled Song Chiron is presented, featuring a simple photo and personal details like her email, address, hobbies, and educational background. Upon seeing the resume, Kijin remarks that she looks very plain, and it's no wonder he doesn't remember her. Secretly, the older man worries the photo might jog his memory and thinks, "I need to get rid of all possible risks." Mr. On smirked quietly with hidden intention. Song Chiron had lingered around Mr. Ma for a long time without receiving a single glance from him. But about 6 months after his wedding, he began allowing her to stay by his side, marking a subtle shift in their relationship. With a radiant smile and confident gaze, Chiron declares, "I belong to Mr. Ma now," solidifying her place near him with bold certainty. Mr. Ma's silence as Chiron makes a bold claim, but Mr. Ma never refutes her, allowing her insolence to go unchecked. Doubt creeps in. Could Mr. Ma truly be in that kind of relationship? After all, he chose an arranged marriage to focus solely on gaining control of Sama Corporation, not for emotional entanglements. He who's known Mr. Ma for 30 years sits with a clipboard in hand, confident in his judgment. He knows Mr. Ma isn't foolish enough to be involved with a mistress. His thoughts echo. The man I've known for the last 30 years isn't such a fool. Confusion settles in. What in the world truly happened? A poster announces the upcoming Jean Roy Bascus art exhibition, scheduled for July 3rd, with early registration open, hinting at a significant public event. Seohun gazes at the exhibition poster with resolve as preparations near completion. She acknowledges that Kijin played a huge role in helping make it happen this time. A quiet reflection reveals that if the deal with John Reynolds hadn't succeeded, the entire exhibition might have been in jeopardy, highlighting the event's fragility. As the sun sets, the poster glows with warmth. She reflects that so many things have changed since the accident, and that includes Kijin. Bathed in warm golden light, she gazes upward with a quiet realization. The words, "and me," reflect her introspection, as if she's finally acknowledging her own place in the story. She used to feel anger and sadness toward him, but now sees that he's changed. He's no longer the man he once was. As she recalls his affectionate gaze, her emotions swirl. His loving expression overwhelms her thoughts, making it hard to focus on anything else. With her hair blowing in the wind, she makes a bittersweet wish. She hopes he never regains his memories. Previously in a hospital hallway, she urgently asks the doctor if there's any chance of Ms. Song's recovery. He responds grimly, noting her condition remains unchanged even after 3 operations. The doctor consoles her, urging her not to blame herself for the lack of progress. Though he brings no hopeful news, she encourages the doctor that they did their best. All they can do now is to pray and keep the situation confidential. She explains the stakes. If it's revealed that Ms. Song is hospitalized, Mr. Ma's accident will come to light. Worse, if his memory loss is exposed, Sama Corp's stock could crash. The doctor gratefully acknowledges the woman's donation of medical equipment. She informs him that it will arrive today, and he thanks her, saying it will benefit the hospital greatly. Walking away, the doctor internally admits that their financial support is in exchange for silence. She also contacted Song Charon's family, has compensated Charon's family for emotional distress and hospital fees, ensuring nothing will get in the way now. Standing beside the unconscious woman's hospital bed, the blonde woman questions her own unease, wondering, "But why am I still anxious?" Despite the peaceful appearance of the patient, something inside her refuses to settle. She contemplates aloud in her mind. Is she really not going to wake up? Her profile is calm, but her downcast eyes betray a deeper fear and unresolved tension. She wonders if she should feel sympathy, but only feels relief seeing the woman helpless. Her emotions reveal a disturbing sense of satisfaction. Her clenched fist, framed by darkness, emphasizes her building resentment. "I'm the one who should be pitted," she thinks, claiming the role of the true victim in their twisted history. A flashback reveals Song Chiron provocatively kissing her husband, fully aware of being watched. Song Chiron's smirk hints at malice, as she knowingly toyed with and provoked her. In the restroom, Seohun confronts Song Chiron, warning her about the risks of public displays with a married man. Chiron coyly responds, "Oh, did you see us?" feigning innocence. With a soft smile, she adds, "I'm sorry. I had no idea you were in the parking lot as well." Her faux apology drips with mockery, barely masking her taunt. Seo-hun's voice cuts through the deception. "I never said I saw you two in the parking lot." Chaerin freezes, caught off guard by her own slip-up. "Look at Song Chaerin on the hospital bed," she scoffs. "You brought this on yourself, Song Chaerin." Her words are composed, but her eyes burn with repressed emotion. "Don't resent me for leaving you here like this." She promises to take care of Song Chaerin until death. With a final statement, "Let's call it even with this," she walks away, her heels echoing her detachment. Her expression is calm, but her mind appears occupied as she heads toward her next destination. Back to the present, after looking at the poster, she walked away from the building. Outside on a sunlit terrace, Kijin in a vest and tie sits quietly, reading a book with a contemplative look. Surrounded by flowers and gentle light, he looks peaceful, yet deep in thought. Spotting the man from a distance, Seo-hun is struck by his serene presence. Internally, she marvels. He's sitting there like some kind of sculpture. As Seo-hun approached behind him about to tease him, he said teasingly, "You can look a little longer, if you want." His tone is playful but slightly nervous as she tries to mask her own curiosity. He meets her gaze with a sly smile, remarking, "It's rather thrilling to see you stare at me as though you've fallen for me." His confidence catches her off guard. Their banter continues as she asks when he noticed her watching him. He replies smoothly, from the beginning, surprising her with his keen awareness. Seo-hun is stunned that he saw her from so far away, questioning how he recognized her. He simply responds with a compliment. "You're quite eye-catching, Seo-hun." The mood shifts as the man brings up a warning he previously gave her about a strange man lurking around. He reminds her to check the security footage, prompting her casual promise to do it tomorrow. Blushing with warmth, Seo-hun smiles to herself, surrounded by soft flowers. She thinks tenderly, "He came because he was worried about me," her heart fluttering with quiet affection. Seo-hun asks to see his office since she came all the way, and he casually agrees, saying it's nothing special. Meanwhile, a mysterious figure peeks out from behind a structure, watching them. The man suddenly notices something suspicious and sharpens his gaze with alarm, his attention locking onto a potential threat. He shouts, "Who's there?" as the mysterious figure in a hoodie quickly turns and dashes away from the rooftop area. On the phone with Mr. On, Kijin urgently asks if he saw the figure running from the gallery. Seo-hun, alarmed, wonders if the man is a robber since the gallery should already be closed. With a determined and commanding expression, he gives a firm order, "Chase him down." Seo-hun expresses concern about Mr. On's safety, suspecting the fleeing man could be a robber. However, Kijin calmly suggests it's more reasonable to worry about the person who ran. With a confident smile, he assures her that Mr. On is perfectly capable. He holds a black belt in Taekwondo and can handle himself well. Mr. On returns with an apology, reporting to Mr. Ma that the suspect managed to escape. He explains that the man was agile and seemed familiar with the area. Despite following him downhill, he lost him in an alley. In a light jab, Mr. Ma comments, "You must be getting old." Mr. On concedes, saying he's not as nimble as before and believes the man was likely just a common thief. A moment of quiet reflection hits Mr. Ma as he recalls the black-capped silhouette. The figure seems strangely familiar. His inner thoughts grow serious. "I don't think I can just brush this off," signaling deeper suspicion and unresolved tension. A nighttime scene reveals a modern building. Seo-hun asks, "Why did you wait until Kijin fell asleep to call me out here?" Mr. On confesses that he didn't actually lose the man at the gallery. He deliberately let him go because the man was someone Mr. Ma shouldn't encounter. Startled by the revelation, Seo-hun cautiously asks, "Who was it?" The mystery deepens as the true identity of the intruder remains concealed. Her expression turns serious as he reveals the man they're discussing is Song Chaerin's brother, connecting a critical piece of information to the past. She questions whether he had come looking for her. Mr. On replies that while the motive wasn't clear, his visit to the gallery suggests she was indeed his target. A new concern arises. The man might exploit what happened to Song Chaerin to blackmail her for money, signaling a potential threat. Distressed, she buries her face in her hands, haunted by the feeling that every time Kijin gets closer to her, the world around her begins to unravel. With narrowed eyes and a hand still partially covering her face, she regains her composure and prepares to take control of the situation. Resolute, she instructs her assistant to arrange a meeting with the man. He complies respectfully, addressing her as Ms. Zhang. A man with a bold appearance and casual demeanor leans back, blowing a bubble of gum nonchalantly, giving off an air of rebellion. She enters the room dressed sharply in a business suit, acknowledging the man with a calm but watchful "you came," suggesting this meeting carries weight. The man, now seated across from her, comments playfully that she looks like a walking designer brand, confirming her elite status within Samwha Corporation. She wastes no time and sternly cuts to the point, demanding to know why he showed up at the gallery the previous day, signaling her intent to uncover his motives. The man, resting his chin on folded hands, expresses disinterest in small talk and bluntly admits he needs money. She responds coldly, listing the medical compensation, nursing care, and consolation fee already paid to the man's family, implying no further help is warranted. The man scoffs at the 300 million won payout, claiming it's insufficient for anyone, while Seohun maintains it's a generous settlement for an accident during a business trip. With a confident smile, the man denies her justification and makes it clear he wouldn't have approached her if that money was enough. He reaches into his pocket, hinting he discovered something significant while going through Charon's belongings. He reveals a photo of Charon in bed with a man, shocked to discover she had ties to Samwha Corp's heir, Ma Kijin, whom he suspects was secretly protecting her all along. Pointing to the date on the photo, he highlights it was taken just 5 months ago, visualizing the entire hidden relationship upon seeing it. In a simple yet damning image, he states bluntly that Chiron and the woman's husband were lovers. He directly accuses the woman of knowing about the affair, but choosing to ignore it, pointing a finger at her as she sits in stunned silence. Sliding back in his chair, he reflects that something always seemed suspicious. Samwha Corp had tried too hard to hide Charon's accident. The man in the patterned shirt confronts a suited figure, accusing him of offering an insulting amount of money for silence. He mocks the excuse about occupational hazards being used to protect the company's image. With a smug expression, the man delivers a bombshell. Chiron was with the woman's husband during the accident, implying a scandalous affair. Seohun, trying to stay composed, denies him the satisfaction of a response. She coldly insists she owes him no explanation. Shrugging with mock innocence, the man cheekily volunteers to continue his exposé, enjoying the upper hand. He explains through a simplified flashback that Chiron and the husband were in the car together during the crash. Samwha Corp tried to bribe people into silence to protect their reputation. The man questions if the husband even agreed to this hush-hush scheme, unaware that the husband suffers from amnesia. Seohun internally notes how close he is to the truth despite not knowing about the amnesia. Outwardly, she cuts him off, saying his story is boring and demanding he get to the point. The man raises a single finger dramatically and demands 100 million won, which is roughly 83,333 US dollars. At first, she thinks the amount is manageable, until he clarifies he wants it every month. She finds the demand outrageous, saying it's excessive. The man, however, calmly counters that such a price isn't unreasonable for someone in her position as Samwha Corp's daughter-in-law. The man smugly suggests that taking the photo to a TV station might be more beneficial for him, implying he's ready to use it as leverage. Deep in thought, Seohun realizes that giving in might only escalate his demands and allow him to control her further. She challenges him emotionally, asking if he's truly willing to expose that his own sister was someone's mistress. With a cold smirk, he reveals he doesn't care what happens to his sister, calling her names and dismissing her vegetative state. Calmly but firmly, Seohun slips a document into her bag and hints that he's more clueless than he realizes. The document is revealed to be a divorce application, and she coolly declares that she had already planned to end the marriage. Suspicious and defensive, the man accuses her of hiding something, but she remains composed, internally noting she came prepared. She delivers a biting remark, pointing out the absurdity of pretending everything is fine when her husband is cheating with his secretary. Unbothered, she tells him she doesn't care if he leaks the photo. It may actually help her. He slams the table in frustration. As she walks away, She instructs him not to let anyone think he leaked the photo and tells him not to bother her at work again. Frustration boils over as Song Charon's brother slams their foot into a wooden chair, shouting, "Damn it!" in a fit of rage, the impact echoing with a sharp wham. A menacing figure with violet eyes and a cold expression reemerges, declaring, "Don't think you got rid of me that easily," signaling unresolved conflict and looming revenge. On the way home, she reflects that staying by his side is only going to hurt me, acknowledging this painful detachment was part of the original plan. As footsteps echo softly, the character wrestles with guilt, admitting they can't keep concealing the truth from him any longer. Seo-hun recalls feeling relief when she first chose to divorce Kijin, though her expression suggests that certainty may be fading. Kijin welcomes her warmly with a gentle smile and a soft, "Welcome home," casting a glow of unexpected tenderness over the moment. She asks with a hesitant smile, "What are you making?" testing the waters of their fragile peace. Kijin responds with casual ease that he's cooking aglio e olio and urges her to wash up and join him, creating a domestic scene that contrasts their inner tensions. She watches him with conflicted thoughts. His smile is so gentle, but she's gripped by fear, wondering how he will react once he finds out about Chiron. With her chest tight and lips barely parted, she questions silently, will he coldly abandon her, or will he be infuriated? The truth she hides trembles on the edge. With tearful eyes and a trembling heart, Seo-hyun stares upward and wonders, must we really end like this? Her expression is filled with a desperate longing to hold on to something she's not ready to lose. Startled by her silence and heavy presence, Kijin turns to face her and softly calls out, "Seo-hun." His eyes reflect concern, sensing something is stirring beneath her composed exterior. Overwhelmed by emotion, Seo-hyun steps forward and embraces him tightly. He returns the gesture with worry, asking gently, "Seo-hyun, what's wrong?" Still holding him close, she finally begins to confess, "I have something to tell you." His voice remains calm and open, "Go ahead. I'm listening." Seo-hun pulls back slightly, looks into his eyes, and admits with vulnerability, "I think I'm in love with you." The moment hangs in delicate stillness as her truth changes everything. She reflects on how he was the first one to truly acknowledge her presence, a memory tinted with warmth as they sit together in quiet comfort. As he gently cradles her face, she realizes that he's someone she can always trust and rely on, her safe place. Even though she tells herself to hold back, his warm eyes and whispered words of love disarm her completely. She can't resist him. Suddenly, Kijin's flustered voice reacts in shock to the confession, exclaiming, "How dare you say that before me? You didn't even give me time to prepare." Seo-hun, looking vulnerable yet sincere, responds softly that it doesn't matter who says it first, letting her emotions guide her over tradition. But he insists it does matter, his voice low but firm, because to him, being the first means everything. A heartfelt inner monologue follows. He wants to be the first to love her, the first to say it out loud, and the first to offer everything he has. His gaze tender, he silently adds that he longs to do so much more for her, to show his love not just with words, but with action. Over the soft simmer of a stove, his thoughts linger. No matter what happens, even if he regains his lost memories and reverts, he wants her to remember that he meant every word. With gentle resolve in her eyes, Seo-hyun tells him, "Even if you come to hate me," preparing herself to be honest, no matter the cost. Her inner voice confesses a quiet desperation, to tell him how she truly feels, just once, so she can move forward without regrets. He is puzzled by her words, wondering why she speaks of hate. Her self-doubt surfaces as she worries that he might stop liking her. With a bittersweet smile, Seo-hun reveals her fear, that once he regains his memories, he might see her differently. She admits she might have done something hurtful in the past. Looking directly at him, Seo-hun reflects that their past issues likely stemmed from his conflicted feelings for her, not hers for him. A tender smile touches his lips as he softly reassures her. "Even in the past, I'm sure. I must have loved you." Her breath catches at his words, but her heart clenches. Quietly, she thinks to herself, "That's not true, you." Tears stream down Seo-hun's face as her heartache spills forth. "Never loved me," she cries, breaking under the weight of old wounds. He cups her face gently, wiping her tears away, and softly pleads, "Don't cry, Siohan," aching at the sight of her pain. He gently licks her lips, cupping her face with tender intensity, the word lick emphasizing the sensual tension between them. With soft vulnerability, he kisses her tear-stained eyelid, a quiet peck, sealing a moment filled with unspoken emotion and aching affection. His eyes narrow with surprise as he confesses, "I've never seen you cry," revealing how rare and moving this moment is to him. Smiling slyly, he murmurs, "You're so beautiful. It makes me want to make you cry every single day." His words laced with affection and dangerous charm. He leans in close and bites her ear gently, marked by the word bite, a teasing gesture that leaves her breathless and quiet. She faces him with curiosity and uncertainty, asking if he had done something she disliked in the past. He answers simply, "Maybe." As he touches her face gently, she responds with quiet acceptance, "I'm sure you had your reasons," trusting his heart despite the unknown. He smiles softly, declaring, "I'm going to think that way even if I find out what it is later." She asks, "Can you promise me that right now?" And without hesitation, he replies, "I promise." He caresses her chin lovingly, reassuring her with a warm voice, "So don't worry," as her golden eyes fill with hesitant hope. In an emotionally charged moment, he pulls her in and kisses her gently, holding her face with tenderness and longing. There's no hesitation in their closeness, only aching vulnerability shared through touch. Their lips meet in a soft, intimate kiss, sealing their emotions with quiet passion. The sound of smooch underscores the sweetness of the connection. With a serene smile, he confesses that his heart is so full he could even forgive her, "Even if you stabbed me right now." His words speak of overwhelming affection that drowns out all past pain. As their feet remain close together in quiet domesticity, she reflects inwardly, "How strange. Listening to your words makes my heart pound and ache at the same time." She thinks, caught between love and fear. In his arms, she wonders silently, "Why do I feel more vulnerable the stronger our love gets?" Their embrace is full of comfort, but it also exposes the rawness of growing attachment. She likens her emotions to standing in the middle of a downpour, blinded, unsure of what lies ahead. Still, despite her fear, she knows one thing. She doesn't want to leave his side. The scene shifts to a peaceful, tree-lined park, providing a moment of stillness and calm. The serenity contrasts the emotional storm just moments before. Sitting side by side on a bench, she reflects that her mind had been hurting from recent events. But now, with him by her side, there's a hint of solace. A breeze rustles by with a whoosh. She acknowledges inwardly that ever since she embraced her feelings, a weight has lifted from her shoulders. Looking at her with curiosity, he asks, "Do you have any hobbies?" He excitedly tells her he wants to do something together on their days off. She pauses, considering the idea, and replies, Let's see." She reflects that she's never truly had a hobby of his own. Every instrument, craft, and sport was something she was forced to learn competitively because of her father's strict educational values. She recalls the pressure of always having to perform well, fearing that failure would bring embarrassment to her father. What others enjoyed as simple fun became burdens she had to master. By the age of 20, she only had reading as a solitary pastime, which visibly disappoints the girl listening. She brightens up and suggests they try volunteering. He echoes her suggestion, a bit surprised. She shares that she's been volunteering at a dog shelter since she turned 20, introducing a lighter, heartfelt atmosphere. Thinking it was Jong Seo-jun who brought her there initially, but over time, the puppies became her true reason for returning. Eventually, it blossomed into a genuine hobby. He smiles warmly and tells her it's an admirable hobby, just like her. With sincerity, he offers to help her in any way he can, clearly wanting to be involved and supportive. She lights up at his offer and says it's perfect, because she does have a favor to ask of him. Kijin, with a soft smile, responds curiously to a request, asking, "A favor?" hinting at an unexpected turn in the conversation. Some moment later, a gloomy aura surrounds Kijin as he frowns, clearly displeased or concerned about the favor being asked of him. A dog, wearing a red collar, looks up with wide eyes as the background dramatically flares, done, highlighting a pivotal moment for the animal. Seohun beams with joy and excitement as she spreads her arms wide, exclaiming, "Welcome to the family, Diaku," against a sparkling, heart-filled background. With a nervous smile, she insists, "It's not that big, right, Diaku?" while playfully defending the dog's size, though her expression betrays some doubt. While kneeling beside Diaku, Seohun insists he can guard the house from thieves. Kijin, standing with arms crossed, gently counters, saying the only thing worth protecting is her. He stretches out in a hesitant motion and calls, "Come on, boy," as both the woman and Diaku watch, anticipation in the air. Seohun tilts her head, puzzled, her expression and floating question marks suggesting she's trying to understand Kijin's strange behavior. As she asks, "Kijin, are you scared of dogs?" he flinches, unable to hide his nervous reaction, confirming her suspicions. In the cold rain, a small puppy sits in a cardboard box outside a shelter. Many dogs are abandoned once they outgrow their cuteness and end up in shelters. Among those abandoned dogs was Diaku, who became a stray after being left behind by its owner. It narrowly survived after being caught in a trap before being rescued. Seohun gently hugs Diaku with tenderness and resolve. Her inner voice shares that she only wanted to make the dog happy. Looking up through green treetops, the woman's thoughts narrate that there's a dog she's been caring for over some time. Flashback to the continuation when they were seated on the bench and she asked for a favor. She reveals Diaku has cancer and has undergone chemo. Without her care, it won't survive much longer. With eyes sparkling and full of hope, she expresses how happy she'd be if she could take Diaku home. She asks for his permission with sincere enthusiasm. He replies gently with a simple "sure," causing the atmosphere to glow warmly between them as they sit together in quiet understanding. That was his response when she asked if she could bring Diaku back. But, with the way he's looking right now, Seohun asks if he's scared of dogs, noticing he seems nervous around them. He denies it, but his flinching reaction says otherwise. She teases him gently, reminding him that he's raised a dog before. He seems caught off guard and asks if he ever mentioned having one, to which she replies that he did, briefly. Then, she finds a framed photo and curiously asks Kijin, "Who's this puppy?" while he stands nearby, his posture unreadable. She recalls Kijin once telling her about a beloved chihuahua that passed away a few years ago, a memory she hadn't expected him to share. Kijin is surprised he said that, but she confirms it. Reflecting inwardly, she realizes that although their bond once felt shallow, they'd actually shared many casual conversations. With a gentle smile, she assures Kijin, "I'll train Diaku well. Don't worry," showing her commitment to their growing family. As she affectionately pats Diaku's head, she observes that he seems comfortable with small dogs, but tends to be uneasy around larger ones. Kijin, arms folded, defensively insists he's not afraid of dogs. He's just being cautious not to be left out. "This is a man's instinct," he declares, trying to mask his vulnerability. She reflects deeply. Despite his fear, Kijin agreed to live with a dog for her sake. For the first time, she genuinely feels marrying Kijin was a good decision. Feeling closer to Kijin because he's sulking, she casually mentions, "Diaku is a girl," leaving him baffled and asking why she hadn't said that earlier. As they prepare for his return to the office, she insists on dressing him perfectly. Kijin protests, saying he could wear anything, but she sternly shuts that down. Kijin pouts, thinking she should spend more time with him instead of rummaging through his closet. He gently brings up a long-standing question. Why doesn't he wear their wedding ring? The topic clearly weighs on her mind as she finally finds the courage to ask. She recalls giving him the ring when they got married and is now confused by its absence on his hand. She explains that she stopped wearing hers after noticing he had stopped first, a quiet act of mirroring that surprises him. She clarifies that he stopped wearing the ring about 6 months before his accident, even though he had worn it every day before then. She remembers how he used to wear the wedding ring prominently, using it as a subtle shield to deter unwanted attention from other women. Noticing its absence for the first time, she recalls the precise moment the missing ring began to symbolize a deeper shift between them. She confesses she drank with Era for 5 hours, feeling that the missing wedding ring symbolized the denial of her entire marriage. After noticing her husband hadn't worn his ring for more than 3 days, she took hers off too. He probably didn't even notice her ring was missing either. Back in the present, She casually asks, "Why do you ask?" while holding up a jacket. He remarks that her hand looks bare. She offers to wear the ring again, but admits she kept it in the closet. He declines, saying, "It's fine. I don't even know where mine is." She responds calmly, "All right then," but thinks to herself that a ring is not meaningful if not worn together. What a shame. She walks away with the jacket while he quietly watches her, his expression unreadable. He tries to get her attention by saying he has a hospital appointment in an hour, secretly wishing she would offer to go with him. Instead, she simply asks what car he'll take and offers the keys to him, making him silently think, "That's so like her." She makes me want to get down on my knees, paired with a visual of him adjusting his coat, suggesting a moment of silent resolve or affection. He smiles warmly and says, "I'll be back," dressed smartly in a suit, hinting he's off to something important, likely his hospital checkup. A chest X-ray appears with a dramatic "done," emphasizing tension and possible concern regarding the medical result. Kijin, looking anxious, asks the doctor, "So, how does it look?" Still surrounded by tension, reflected in the repeated "dun" sound. Kijin ominously thinks, "I will hold you responsible if you say I still haven't recovered even after doing everything you instructed," as the atmosphere turns dark and intense, pressuring the doctor for answers. The doctor nervously hesitates, stammering, well, unsure how to begin delivering the results. He finally beams, "Wow, it looks like your ribs have fully recovered," delivering positive news with relief and energy. Kijin, still skeptical, asks, "Are you sure?" The doctor insists yes, explaining the recovery was fast since the rib wasn't completely broken. However, the doctor cautions him to avoid lifting heavy things or twisting his upper body during the recovery phase. Kijin bluntly asks, "Will I be able to lift up to 80 kilograms?" The doctor replies, "That might be rather," hinting it's still too risky. Kijin's intense aura pressures the doctor into saying what he wants to hear. "Say yes." "I need a yes right now." But the doctor nervously admits that lifting 80 kilograms or doing push-ups is still off limits. However, the doctor adds with a wink that if the weight is distributed to the lower body, it should be okay, hinting that certain activities may still be permissible if done carefully. Kijin stands and declares, "That's good enough." Internally, he celebrates that the long, agonizing period of abstinence has come to an end. With a determined and mischievous grin, Kijin reflects on how hard it was to resist Seohun every night while sharing a single bed. He pounds the bed with resolve while Seohun sleeps beside him, clearly steeling himself for an imminent move. "Prepare yourself, Seohun," he thinks with finality, indicating he's mentally ready to cross that intimate line. Suddenly, Seohun gets a chill down her spine, sensing something is coming, although she doesn't know what. The mood shifts as Seohun warmly treats her junior to a meal, offering anything she wants as a reward for working hard. The junior cheerfully eats, exclaiming, "It's so good," prompting Seohun to smile and think, "Is this what it feels like to have a little sister?" The mood turns slightly more serious as the junior casually mentions, "Mr. On came by a few days ago," potentially introducing a new twist in the story. Seohun is shocked to hear that security footage was handed over to Mr. On, who claimed a suspicious person was seen near the gallery. She suspects that Song Chi-sung was caught on camera and wonders if Kijin now knows about his existence. Relieved, Seohun realizes that Mr. On likely intercepted the footage before Kijin could see it. The girl recalls that Mr. On came by 3 or 4 days ago, definitely less than a week. Seohun, trying to stay calm, hides her concern and says, "No, it's nothing." The girl mentions she might have seen the same suspicious person Mr. Ma referred to. She admits she didn't think much of the man initially, assuming he was homeless, but grew suspicious after hearing from Mr. Ma. She recalls seeing him twice. He was limping and peeking into the gallery near the back entrance. A suspicious man wearing a black cap and vest is seen loitering near the gallery, carrying a strange black bag. Seohun realizes the man Mr. Ma saw also wore a black cap, but Song Chi-sung didn't look like a homeless man, which raises doubts. She starts to wonder if Song Chi-sung isn't the only one lurking around her. Could there be more than one stalker? Shocked and alarmed, Seo-hyun processes the possibility that multiple unknown men may be targeting her.